Assalamu alaikum everyone. If I can please request everybody to come and take a seat, and we shall be starting now. My name is Shabir Rajani and I'd like to welcome you to the annual Imam al-Husayn Quran competition 2019. This is day 2. So if you don't know, we have a competition which is a recitation competition, and this year for the first time ever we have a Ma'rifah Tafsir competition of the Surah Al-Shams, which we shall be doing today inshallah. And we're honored to have Sheikh Nouru here with us today as the judge. He's been an inspirational support for us for Quran, and we hope this is the first event of something that will grow in the future to instill love for the Quran in the hearts of our community, to increase our understanding, inshallah. Please do sit for the whole program. There's 5 presentations, 5 participants I will present for 10 minutes on Surah Shams, which will be followed by questions by Sheikh Nouru. So that's the format for today. Food will be served at the end, so please do wait for that as well. I will pass over to Sheikh Nouru to say a few words about the competition and why Quran is so important for us as a community and for ourselves, with a loud salawat.
صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بفضل بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبي إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الغر الميامين المنتجبين. First of all, we give thanks to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to reaffirm or to establish our affiliation with the glorious Quran. The importance and significance of Quran, as you know, brothers and sisters, cannot be overemphasized in the life of a Muslim or someone who aspire to be a true and a sincere believer. And with Quran competition, I've seen the benefit of it, and I keep seeing that benefit to myself as a judge and to those who normally participate. I've been judging in Africa under the auspice of Africa Federation, and also last year we started here in Birmingham. And I'm really pleased to be here in Leicester to be part of this very important event and very important occasion. I always tell people, especially the lovers and followers of Ahlul Bayt, that you should always remember the Holy Prophet. When he was leaving this world, he left for us 2 weighty things. He did not only leave for us Ahlul Bayt, he left for us Ahlul Bayt and the Quran. But you find some of us hold the anti-Quran at the expense of Ahlul Bayt. And there are those who hold unto Ahlul Bayt at the expense of Quran. فَسَرَقْتُ فِيكُمُ الثَّقَلَيْنِ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَعِتْرَةِ أَهْلَ بَيْتِ فَإِنَّهُمَا لَن يَفْتَرِقَا حَتَّى يَرِدَ عَلَيَّ الْحَوْضِ. 2 things. Not only Ahlul Bayt and not only Quran. So it's very important as Muslims, as Shias, as lovers of Ahlul Bayt, to know that you cannot get to salvation without both Quran and Ahlul Bayt. And so what we're going to do here, what we've been doing here in Leicester, is to reaffirm and to deepen our understanding of Quran and to say, Ya Rasulullah, we are really trying our level best to hold onto what you ask us to hold on to. And the last thing, of course, you recall that verse of Quran where Allah mentioned, وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّ إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. That the Holy Prophet complains, or he will complain on the day of Qiyamah, that, oh my beloved Lord, my people have abandoned Quran. We don't want to be part of those who abandon Quran. We want to be part of those who ensure that Quran is alive and kicking. Hence, some of the titles of Ahl al-Bayt, especially Amir al-Mu'mineen, we said it's a walking Quran, speaking Quran. What does it mean, walking Quran and speaking Quran? Meaning Amir al-Mu'mineen implemented Quran and the Quran became his life. One of the wives of the Prophet was asked, how do you describe the akhlaq of Prophet? She said, Kana khulquhu al-Quran. The akhlaq of Prophet was Quran. So therefore, inshallah, we're going to begin with this tafsir category. And as you heard from Brother Shabir, is each person will, inshallah, spend 20 minutes with me. First 10 minutes, you will explain and tell us what you know about the verse or the verses that you are presenting. And then the second 10 minutes, I will ask you. Note, during your presentation, I may prompt you. But inshallah, it's not going to be difficult. It's going to be something easy to encourage you and to encourage others, inshallah, to also seek to participate next year. What I'll be looking for the following. And I'm sure you got the circular from the organizers. Number one is reasons for revelation. So if in your explanation you indicate to the reasons of revelation or historical background of a verse, that will get you some good mark. And then cross-referencing. Cross-referencing means try to explain the verse or the verses you are going to choose, either through verses of Quran or through traditions of Ahlul Bayt, alayhim assalam. And the third one, of course, is to indicate what are the lessons learned from the verse or the verses you have chosen or you are going to choose. And then, inshallah, the last one will be, not the last one, last but not least, is clarity of explanation. When you speak, it has to be very clear. People should understand. And then ways of implementing those lessons. So when you come, you relax, you feel free, you go through your presentation properly, inshallah. So therefore, I think we need not to waste much of our time. We need to get the ball rolling, inshallah. Sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Thank you, Sheikh, for the introduction. Without further ado, I will call upon the first participant. But just something I've learned this year when I went to Iran in December of last year. There was a hadith of one of our Imams, which was that if there was nobody left on the earth from east to west, fourth Imam, Imam Zain al-Abidin, if there's nobody left on earth from east to the west, if I had my Quran, I wouldn't be lonely. So I just think that's something really beautiful and something we should think about, inshallah. Okay, so without further ado, I should call upon the first participant. Can I please call upon Sister Salma Ali with the loudest of salawats?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Uh, Suratul Shams is Arabic word. Shams means the sun, and it is the 91st chapter in Quran and has got 15 verses. It has been said that it is divided into two parts. The first part is like from verses 1 to 10, and the other part is from 11 to 15. Now, due to the shortage of time, I'm going to focus more on the second part, that is verses 11 to 15. Now, why this surah was revealed? Well, we know that it was revealed in Makkah, at the time when the Quraysh was very much against Prophet Muhammad and his message. And then Prophet Muhammad came forward and he told him this story of the nation of Samud. Now, it is very similar to the scenario what the Quraysh was going through. Like, Quraysh was a civilized nation. They are very arrogant, and no respect for the people, no respect for the orphans. So the same behavior was seen in the nation of Samud. So I'm going to more focus on the nation of Samud. We want to know who is this nation, why is it so much discussed in Quran, according to my research. In 21 chapters, this nation of Samud has been discussed, and not only one verses, but several verses. So why? What is so important about this nation, and what can we learn from this nation? Qawm Samud, first of all, where is it? It was in the north of Arabia, and it is said that they were the ancestor of Prophet Hud. As it is said in the Quran as well, in some of the verses that anyway, they were the followers of Prophet Hud, and they were ancestors that belonged to that. And Prophet Hud was the prophet sent to nation of Ad, and also the nation of Ad was destroyed by Allah's punishment. The same thing happened to this nation as well. Now, Prophet Saleh was sent to this nation at the age of 16. He started preaching Islam. And it is said that when he was 210 years old, he was kept on asking the people of Samud to believe in Allah and do not worship the idols, but they refused. And then this nation actually told Prophet Saleh, if you are true, first of all, you are just like us. You are just a man like us. So how can we believe that you are the prophet? First thing. Second thing, if you are a prophet, then show us the sign. And it is said in so many verses in the Quran. So they were suspicious and doubtful. It says in Surah Ibrahim, verse 9, that they were suspicious to what they were invited by Prophet Saleh. So it shows that they were suspicious, they were doubtful, they have no fear of Allah, as it says in Surah Hud, chapter 16, when Prophet Saleh said, enjoy yourself. It shows that they were just enjoying their life because they were very intelligent, very skillful. Their society, their civilization was very developed. It says so much in the Quran, other places, that they were civilized, they were very intelligent. In Surah Ankabut, verse 38, it says that they were gifted with intelligence and skills. So, but though they were intelligent, they were skillful, but they have no fear of Allah. They were spiritually very weak. So they said to Prophet Saleh, okay, fine, if you are prophet, then show us the sign. So it was their demand to Prophet Saleh. And Prophet Saleh said, okay, fine, we will show you the sign, but promise that you're not going to harm whatever. Because they said, we demand you to, that from the mountain, a camel should come out, and it should be she camel and should be pregnant. And it has this, and there were so many things about the camel. It was very unusual camel. So Prophet Saleh said that fine, we will do this with the help of Allah, but then you have to follow what Allah wants from you, but otherwise you will be punished. And they said, okay, fine. And when they saw this camel, most of the people, they said it's a magic. Now, what I want to say here is I find personally very similarity between the Prophet and Prophet Saleh, Prophet Muhammad and Prophet Saleh. Even the nation of Prophet Saleh said that you are the magician. If you see in Prophet Muhammad's life, he was called magician. If you see Prophet Muhammad, they said that you are just a man like us. Prophets, this Samud, they said to Prophet Saleh, you are man like us. So there are so many similarities between these two nations. That's why Prophet Muhammad gave them the example of this nation, because there were so many things similar to these. them. So Prophet Muhammad said that you have to learn from the past. I'm telling you this story so that you learn a lesson. It's a warning from Allah actually. So, and then what happened at last? Prophet Saleh, they didn't listen to Prophet Saleh. They killed the camel, and then in 3 days' time they were destroyed. Now in Quran, Allah is saying in Surah Tawbah 70, it is not Allah who wronged them, but their own soul. So it says that whenever we do something, we get in return, whatever we get, whether it's a good deed, whether it's a bad deed, you'll get according to the reward, punishment, everything will be given to you. And one more similarity, which I don't know, this is only I think like that. In Surah Namal, it says that they plotted and planned, but we too planned. It means Allah is saying, we too planned, even while they perceived it not. These nation of Samud, there were 9 people who planned to kill Prophet Saleh, and they did not succeed. They were killed by Allah's punishment. And if you look in Prophet Muhammad's life, these Quraysh, they planned to kill Prophet Muhammad, and instead of Prophet Muhammad, Imam Ali was there on the bed. That's the similarity I can see. The other thing, it is said I have seen in alislam.org, I know this is authentic website, it says that there was a lady who told that man who killed the camel that if you will kill that camel, then, she was like a kind of molest him, this man. So he went and he killed the camel. So this lady name was Ketmi, I don't know, something. I don't know what's her name, but the name is very similar to the lady who also told Ibn Muljam to kill Imam Ali. And in some of the hadiths, it has been seen that Prophet Muhammad said there are 2 wicked people in the history in the world. One is this, the person who killed she camel, and Ibn Muljam. So I saw this similarity when I was doing my research, but it's not anywhere in the thing. And yes, one more thing is, what I have learned from this surah is, only believing is not enough. You have to practice it. It is said in the verses of when the nation of Samud was discussed, that even if you believe, it's not enough. You have to practice it. So this is very important, that we should understand that in our life, if we just say that we believe in Ima, we believe in Allah, but we have no fear, we are not God conscious, then what will happen? We will end up in hell. So it is very important that we practice the righteousness. The other thing which I learned from this chapter is about that, whenever, even if you are sinful, when the people, Qawm Samud, they killed the camel, Prophet Saleh told them, look, you did really very bad, but still, if you ask the forgiveness from Allah, don't be hopeless. If you ask forgiveness from Allah, Allah will forgive you. But they did not listen to Prophet. This is what happened.
Okay, thank you so much. 1 minute more. You want to? You've got something to add?
Quickly,
Okay.
I want to say what I have learned.
Yeah.
Learn from your past. If you have skills, intelligence, don't be arrogant, be humble, because everything is given from Allah. So it's not something that you have created from yourself. Don't believe in what your forefathers believe in. You should have the logical explanation what you believe in. And don't be suspicious and doubt, because it just kills your iman. It kills your faith. And always stand for the truth, stand for the justice, because those people of the nation of Samud, they didn't kill the camel, but they didn't say anything. It shows that they were a part of this nation. So whenever you see anything bad in the nation, and if you're not saying anything and you're just keeping close, you're not saying anything, it shows that you are a part of that nation. So you have to stood up for your right. Something is going wrong, just stood up and say it, that this is wrong. So this is what I have learned.
Okay, thank you. Now let's begin with the questions. You made mention earlier on that this chapter was revealed in Makkah.
Yeah.
What's the distinction between the chapters revealed in Makkah and Medina, and why?
Because when Prophet Muhammad migrated to Medina, the chapters revealed in Medina was so-called Madani chapters. And when Prophet was in Makkah, so these were the chapters which revealed before he migrated. So obviously, and there were some more chapters in Makkah when he did the Fatah. He came back to Makkah. Then there were another chapters were revealed. So that's how we differentiate that these were the starts chapters and these were the middle ones and the last ones.
So chapters revealed in Makkah are Makkans.
Yeah.
Medina, Madani is true. How do you identify them?
Because if
Say,
Prophet is saying,
I'm coming.
sorry,
Your son comes to you,
yeah,
or your daughter, friend, colleague, your husband. So I've been Muslim for some time now, and I've been reading Quran. Some chapters Makkah, some Madani. How do I identify a particular verse, whether it's Makki or Madani, pops somewhere without going from the beginning of the chapter? So I'm seeking to understand method
yeah,
of identifying what is Makki.
and what's Madani?
Fantastic.
So Makki surahs are mostly when they were revealed at that time. They were talking about like mushrikeens, those who do not believe. If it's the verses are like that, you do not believe, it means they are in Makkah. And Madani are for those people who already believe in Prophet Muhammad as a prophet, and Prophet is actually guiding them. Like he's not saying that those who do not believe, but yes, the Imam, like the person, ya ayyuhal lazina amanu, like the people who believe, there is a more guide to them. But in Makki Surah, they are like those who do not believe, the mushrikeens.
Very good. So Medina, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Makkah,
I don't know.
ya ayyuhannas.
Yeah, Yohanas, yeah.
Let's continue.
Like Nas people, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously Makkah, they were not yet believers. Can you give an example as to why they were not yet believers in Makkah? Practical example in your life compared to the life of that time.
Because we are living in this country, we have mixed culture, like they're Christian, Jewish. So when these are the Nas, like if the verse is saying Ya ayyuhan Nas, it means it is for the Christians, Jewish, Hindus, maybe those who do not believe.
No, my question is, I agree with your previous answer. Medina, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Makkah, ya ayyuhannas. True. Why? You said they were mushrikeen, they did not believe in Allah. But I don't want to go to another question. In Medina also, there were many people who did not believe.
Right now,
Give me example of what happened in Medina and what happened in Makkah. That Medina is Amanu, Makkah is Nas.
Because they were standing against Prophet Muhammad, and Medina, they believed in that Prophet Muhammad is the last prophet. So that's the difference between, because their understanding, their belief, their faith, everything was different.
Is there any act of worship in Islam that was introduced in Makkah, that was introduced in Medina, and wasn't introduced in Makkah to signify that indeed Medina is about Amanu and Makkah is Nas?
I think namaz was revealed in
Good,
Medina.
good.
Yeah.
Fasting, when was it instituted in Islam? In Medina, not in Makkah.
Yeah.
So that's very important.
Yeah.
The fasting we do,
It was revealed in Medina.
Santi, which year of Hijrah? That's too much for you, second year. But that's okay. Some said even after that more. So that's very important. Now let's move on. You quoted chapter Ibrahim verse 9. Can you open chapter Ibrahim verse 9?
Just Ibrahim, chapter Ibrahim.
Yeah, chapter Ibrahim verse 9.
Yeah. Chapter 14? Yeah. Yeah. Chapter 14. Yeah.
Okay. What were you trying to say there? Can you expound a little bit and then try to show me a link between this verse and the verse that you quoted in Surah Shams?
Uh, it says, it's not Ibrahim, it's not chapter 14.
Ibrahim
Sorry.
9.
What chapter is this, Ibrahim? Sorry.
Ibrahim is chapter 14, verse 9.
I'm sorry, I don't know. Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It says, has not the account reached of you those before you of the people of Noad and Samud and those after them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the same thing that Prophet Muhammad is telling the people that don't you know what happened to Prophet Nuh, Ad, and some nation of Samud? It is an example, a warning for you. So you have to do the research and find out what was the reason why they were destroyed. None knows them but Allah. The apostles come to them with clear arguments, but they thrust their hand into their mouth and said, "Surely we deny that with which you sent
No,
you
no,
are sent."
just to save time.
Yeah,
This ayah is saying,
yeah.
أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ نَبَأُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ قَوْمِ نُوحٍ وَعَادٍ وَثَمُودٍ.
Mm,
The people of Nuh, the Ad and Thamud.
yeah.
Then Surah Shams,
Samud.
Thamud.
Yeah.
What is the link between these two?
Between
Surah Shams,
and
كَذَّبَ ثَمُودُ بِتَقْوَاهَا. And then here, Ad, Thamud. What's the link?
because Ad was the nation before Samud.
Don't worry. Just look at the Thamud here and the Samud there in Shams. Don't worry about that. Thamud here and Samud there. Is there any correlation between the two? What is the message here?
Sorry, I'm not getting what you like trying to say.
There is Samud, Allah talking about Samud in this ayah.
Yeah,
And Surah Shams also, you explain about
yeah,
Samud.
yeah.
So what is the connection between this ayah and that ayah of Surah Shams?
Like here, Allah, there it was said that the Samud was destroyed, the
Okay.
nation was right.
And
Here,
here?
Allah is saying that you know what happened to account, what was like, they were destroyed.
What happened to them? Allah is trying to tell the Prophet and his
Don't you know
Ummah.
that? Yeah, what happened?
What is so unique about Thamud? That's my question. Because time, I'm trying to save that. What is so unique about Thamud that Allah will repeat them many verses of Quran? You mentioned so many verses. I took note of them.
Yeah.
But time will not permit us to go into them more. What is so unique about Thamud that Allah mentioned them here, mentioned them in Surah Shams, so many chapters of Quran? Why?
Because they killed the sign of Allah, the camel. It's a big thing. It's not something very small. Like they
Tell
demand,
me three things that Thamud did, and Allah is keeping mentioning them.
because Allah gave them so many things. They were civilized. All these are the gifts from Allah, and in return, what they did, they worshipped idol instead of Allah. That they worshipped. That's the first thing.
Okay?
Second thing, they were very. They have very pride. They do not. They have the poor, rich. They do not,
Segregation, yeah.
yeah, there was so much like they have no respect for the people. They used to degrade people, and they were enjoying their life in this materialistic world. So they just forget about Allah. That's the second thing. And third thing, that they demanded from Prophet Saleh that we want to see a sign, and then they themselves killed the camel. And it is, they said that it's the camel of Allah, just like Kitabullah, Allah's kitab, Baitullah, Allah's house is just like camel of Allah. So it has got so much it, precious. The camel was so much precious because it was camel of Allah, and they killed them so badly.
Thank you so much. You've done well. Keep it up. Inshallah, next time you'll participate also. You've done well. I'm
Sure.
impressed. Keep it up. Salamu alaikum. Salawat. Muhammad. Yeah, you can call next one.
Next one, Brother Ali Baker. Yes, please.
Salam. Just give me a minute or two.
Are you timing? You timing? No, are you timing? Can you tell me when 5 minutes are up? Thanks.
Okay, now you can start.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So the Akhbaris believed that the Imam was the main reference for the Quran. So if we want to learn about the Quran, we should go almost solely to the Imams and what they have said in the Ahadith. So one of the books that they've compiled, which is probably the best book for the Ahadiths of Tafsir, is Tafsir Al-Burhan fi Tafsir Al-Quran by Hashim al-Bahrani. Now the interesting thing is that when you go through all of these narrations, they're all unreliable, except for a couple which I'll mention. And this includes, for example, the narrations on the fada'il of reciting the surahs, so the narrations of the benefits, the rewards of reciting the surahs. I actually went back to Ibn Babawayh's book, Thawab al-A'mal wa Iqab al-A'mal, and all of the narrations in that entire section, funnily enough, are weak. And this actually corroborates what the Amma, the Sunnis, have said when scholars of theirs, such as Ahmed bin Hanbal, have said that the tafsir tradition is full of spurious material. It seems that the same is true for us, in that we have very few akhbar, very few narrations rather, that are reliable, and so we're limited in terms of usefulness. So, for example, one of the narrations that we have in terms of what the Imams have said that seems to be reliable is from Al-Kafi, from Imam al-Sadiq, where he says that فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقَوَاهَا بَيَّنَ لَهَا مَا تَأْتِي وَمَا تَتْرُكُ. So this verse that Allah inspired the nafs with the good and the bad, Allah has clarified what it should take and what it should do and what it should leave. So this doesn't really add much to our understanding of the Quran. And there are other such narrations, I think 3 in total, which don't really add much. So the question then is, well, if the Imams haven't said much that's reliable on the tafsir of the Quran, then does that mean that the Quran cannot be understood as maybe some of the Akhbaris have said? No, I think that the Quran came down in an Arabic language, and that doesn't mean that it came down only and solely in Arabic vocabulary or with Arabic grammar. It means that the idioms of the Quran, the expressions of the Quran, are the ones that would be readily understood by the Arabs. So I think if we just approach the Quran and let's see what we understand from it. And my aim here is not to necessarily interpret all the verses, but just to see how can we begin to approach the Quran. So the chapter or the surah, Surah Al-Shams, it begins by saying وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمْرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا وَالنَّهَارِ. So when it says wa, what is the meaning of wa? It's an oath that I swear by this, I swear by that. Now, of course, why does God swear? Like, why is God himself swearing to the person? Well, why do we swear? We swear because we're trying to emphasize that what we're saying is important. And also, why do we swear by something? So I could just say, I swear that this and that. Why am I saying I swear by something that this is the case or that is the case. And that's because the thing that it must be being sworn by is something important, something great. One person from darulfiqh.com, he said that some scholars of tafsir, presumably scholars of the Amma, they've said that the oaths, they are omitting the word Rabb from the oaths. So I swear by the God of Shams, the sunshine or the sun. I swear by the God of nighttime or the night. Another explanation that the scholars have apparently given is that the Arabs themselves used to swear by these things. So they used to swear by Al-Asr, they used to swear by Fajr and other various things, Shams, Layl, and therefore the Quran is approaching them by their own familiar arguments. And of course, one thing we can learn from this is that when we approach someone in argumentation, we should be approaching them with what is familiar to them. And another explanation is that when Allah Azza wa Jalla is swearing by these things are great things, the sun that's powering, it's giving us heat and so on, giving us life. Well, the creator of all of these things is greater. So this is the first section in terms of swearing by various things. And also what's interesting is that God himself doesn't just swear by them. So he doesn't say, وَالشَّمْسِ وَاللَّيْلِ. He describes what he's swearing by. وَالشَّمْسِ. And then he says, وَالشَّمْسِ إِذَا وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا. He's describing these things. And to me, when he's saying these things, we're supposed to reflect upon what he's saying. We're not just supposed to say, yes, the sun, it's great. We're supposed to think about why are these things, how we're supposed to observe them. And also, on a side note, when I was looking at the ayat, it's interesting that the tajweed, the med in sama, وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا. You're supposed to almost like look at the vastness of the sky. So it's interesting that the tajweed, the recitation, fits in with what you're supposed to observe. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا. How he's expanded it, how he's built it. So what is being sworn here? So I swear by this, by that is like this. What's being sworn? فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ وَمَنْ زَكَّاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. So قَدْ أَفْلَحَ. One thing we should look at also is the words. So أَفْلَحَ, which has to do with the farmer, the harvest. And this reminds me of the English expression that you reap what you sow. So in this case, literally we are reaping what we sow. If we zakkaha, if we purify ourselves, then we will reap the benefits of what we have done. And this means that success is not necessarily instant. It doesn't mean that necessarily if we be good that we will necessarily instantly get the rewards or the thawab that's there. This will come. You reap what you sow means that the farmer has to wait for that yield to be harvested. Okay, I'll skip that. Okay, now Allah is swearing to us and He's building tension. If we look at this, He says, وَالشَّمْسِ وَالضُّحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا. It goes on and on and on. You're building tension here. You're building tension. What's the Prophet going to swear by? He swears, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. So the emphasis here is on really purifying ourselves and avoiding evil, which due to time limits I won't go into. So then it switches to a story. كَذَّبَتْ ثَمُودُ بِطَغْوَاهَا. So why is the Quran switched to a story? Is this random? Is it unrelated to what came before? No, it must be related. The surah is too short for it to be unrelated. And what we can learn from this is that when we go to a long surah, such as Surah Al-Baqarah, these stories are not necessarily random changes in topic. No, they're related directly to what we're being told. And in this case, Mawdudi, the author of the famous tafsir, he says that the Thamud were an Arab civilization. And in fact, the Arabs used to travel past them when they used to go on their travel caravan routes, and they would see the ruins of Thamud. So it was relevant to them. Interestingly as well, it says, كَذَّبَتْ ثَمُودُ بِطَغْوَاهَا إِذِ انْبَعَثَ أَشْقَاهَا. So Thamud denied, كَذَّبَتْ ثَمُودُ بِطَغْوَاهَا, by its transgression. Idhim, when, what made them deny? How did they deny the Prophet? Idhim ba'atha ashqaha, when they dispatched their worst person. Now, why is this interesting? Because there it's saying that this, by sending that person to kill the camel, فَقَالَ لَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ فَقَالَ لَهُمْ. It doesn't say that the Messenger of Allah said to that person who was dispatched. He didn't say, I said to you, this one person, فَقَالَ لَهُ فَقَالَ لَهُمْ. So the Messenger of Allah, he's speaking to all of them. And one lesson we can learn from this is that when we're doing something as a community or as a person, we think to ourselves, well, I've not done anything. But actually, if you stir the pot, if you create problems, if you spread riba, even though you may not have done the final, you may not have done the dirty deed yourself, if you've provoked something to go wrong, if you've created tensions, then the sin is upon you, not just the person who was sent there, who actually did the dirty deed. So that singular versus plural is quite interesting. Okay. I will skip to. So near the end of the surah, it says, إذن بعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله إن قد الله سقياها كذبوه فعقروها ولا يخاف عقباها. So
فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها.
Yeah. And then, so it says here, وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقَبَاهَا. So Allah says that He does not fear the consequence, that whether we like it or not, we have to abide by what He's saying here, the advice and the warning that's being given to us. Why? Because لَا يَخَافُ عُقَبَاهَا. There's no consequence for Him to fear that, okay, if He destroys the people of Thamud, if He destroys us, there's no one who can stop Him from doing these things, and there's no one who can change what the criteria are. And hence, one might ask, well, why would he now threatened with punishment? It's because even though فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقَوَاهَا, even though we know, because Allah has inspired it within ourselves, what is right and wrong, even though we know this, human beings don't always do what's right, even if they know what's right. Sometimes they need some incentives, sometimes they need some fear in their lives, and then that will help them stay straight. And hence, even though the Quran is giving us sincere advice, at the same time it's also giving us a bit of fear of threat, fear and threat in order to inspire us to do what is right.
Okay, now I want us to go back to the chapter properly in trying to get a feeling of your understanding of the chapter. So before my first question, I've got a question for you before that. What's the name of the tafsir of Maududi?
Maududi?
Yeah, what is the name of his tafsir? Because you mentioned it in passing. Maududi in his famous tafsir. What's the name of the book?
I forget.
No. Tafhim al-Quran.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So it's always important to be able to mention the name, to tell the judge or the listeners that I just did not read it somewhere. I know the book, Tafhim al-Quran. Now let's go to the climax. You are sitting there with Surah Shams. I come to you, or someone come to you. Said, okay, fine. You prepare for this competition. Kindly tell me, what is the theme or the subject matter of this entire chapter? Because you explain all the chapter to me. Now just give me a theme, or at least two themes or subjects that this particular chapter is all about. Then we can start taking it one after the other.
So the subject of the surah is one, which is that a person should do what is good and avoid what is bad. Hence the middle ayah, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. And the way it tells us to do that is in the form of advice, that if we do what is right, if we purify ourselves, zakkaha, then we will succeed, and we will see not the rewards, but we will see the fruits of that success.
So what's the title? I need the title. You've explained.
But then
No, not the name of the
title
the chapter. The title, the theme, the mawdu'a.
Advice, exhortation.
Advice on what? Each verse of Quran give advice.
No, not each verse, but in terms
very specific. I want. Be very specific. You've explained. I take that explanation, but I need. Tell me. Is it talking about lying? Is it talking about Quran?
No, so it's talking
what
about
is it talking about?
Human behavior.
Every verse of Quran talks about different angles of human behavior. There is no chapter in Quran which is not talking about different angles. It could be intellectual. It could be social. What is the subject of this ayah?
Well, I mean, yeah, so if you want to say social, then yes, it's social in the sense that it's talking about human behavior, how we should behave and conduct ourselves.
But Surah Al-Hujurat is also talking about that. What's the difference between the two? What's the specification of this one? You explain, but which angle of human behavior? Human behavior is too general. Chapter Shams, yes. That's our topic today in Madrasa. What is the theme of chapter Shams?
I think the theme is what I've said, which is that we should conduct ourselves well. We should avoid what is bad.
In
and
what
we should
way?
do what is good.
Very good. I take that.
Yeah.
In what way?
Oh, you mean in terms of how we do this?
Yeah, so I need one word or two words for that.
Well, so in one of the reliable hadiths that aflah min zakah is that man ata. So whoever obeys, in terms of obeying the Islam, obeying the Shara of Islam.
So the theme, could it be tahdhibun nafs?
It could be, but
Why?
But isn't that what I've just said?
You explain. You said behavior.
Mm.
You have to give me. Allah, when He talks, Allah is very specific. You explain to me, but now just give me one topic, one theme. Self-purification.
In a word, yes.
Ahsantum.
Zakah.
So that everybody can understand. A young boy, a young girl was okay. He gave a lot of explanation, but I couldn't get it because he's talking very quick. But he mentioned self-purification. I got it. Now, at least if I know nothing about the chapter, I know the chapter is talking about myself and how to purify it. Now, let's go forward. I want you to open the chapter.
You don't need to. I don't need it. Yeah?
No, open. Open the chapter, either with your Quran or with your phone. Because you made some explanation, so I want us to go there.
Yes.
So if you look at the chapter, I want you to look at the chapter, even those of us who are here, just listen to it, or you can just look at the chapter. You mention of the oath. Give me an example of oath in Quran apart from anyone here.
Wal-fajri wal-balad.
Ahsantum. Yasin. Why?
Why?
Why oath in Quran?
Well, so I gave reasons, didn't I? Where I said that.
Give me those reasons again.
Okay, so according to what?
Why will Allah say Yasin? Wal Quran al-Hakim. Why will Allah say Wad-Duha? Wal-Layli? Why?
So there are more, but at least three explanations given by the scholars of Tafsir of the Amma. That when God swears, He's not swearing by these things because God is the greatest. So how could He be swearing by something less great than Him? So there's an omission here that the Arabs would have understood, which is وَرَبِّ الشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَرَبِّ اللَّيْلِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا, which is that the word Rabb, the Lord, has been omitted from the ayah, but it's meant to be understood there. That's one of the
explanation.
Theories.
Yeah.
Another theory is that Allah is swearing by what's familiar to the Arabs. So when He says وَالشَّمْسِ وَاللَّيْلِ, these are what the Arabs themselves used to say to each other, that I swear by the sun that I am not lying. And hence Allah is speaking to them in their own language, in Arabic Quran.
What's the target of the oath? To cut long story short. Washamsi. Yes, it's true. Arab used to do that. So Allah want to talk to them in a way they are used to. Good, I agree. But what's the target? What am I aiming? What's Allah's target? By saying Washams. What is it that Allah want to achieve here?
You mean in terms of He wants us to ponder on those things?
Yeah, I come to you. I swear by God. I've got an aim. There's something I really want to achieve here. That's why I'm saying I swear by God. I said, no. By the soul of my father. People do that. By the soul of my son. Okay? There's a target. What's Allah's target for saying, Washamsi Waduhaha?
So it's emphasizing the importance of the message which is coming forth.
Ahsantum.
Which is that قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مِنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مِنْ
Ahsant.
دَسَّاهَا.
Emphasizing the importance of the message. That is one. Two, so there's a message. Allah is going to give you a message. Wallahi, I will not go there again. So meaning I will not go there again is the message. Important. You got it. Second, why oath?
Why oath?
Yeah, you explained the first one. I agree with you. What's the second target? Hadaf of Allah for oath. You understand my question?
I think so.
Oh God.
But I would say that there's one.
So you see, washamsi waduhaha. At the end he said, wa nafsin wa ma sawaha. which you have explained. Allah want to tell us nafs is crucial, it's important. That's one. Two, why will Allah say وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا?
Why does he mention these specific things?
Why the oath? Let me put it that way. What is the heart of the target of the oath? You gave one reason, which I take, which is true according to narrations of Al Bayt. Second reason,
I don't know what you're looking for.
Allah says وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا. He's got a target. His target is وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. One target. Any other target?
I don't know what you're looking for.
I'm looking for the target of Allah. Allah will not just say, I swear, and He doesn't have hadaf to achieve, something to achieve. First, we want to tell you nafs is important. Second,
You're talking about Thamud, the second part?
okay, leave the Shams. Yasin wal Quran al Hakim. What is he trying to say?
That the Quran is wise and he's swearing by the Quran?
Ahsantum. That's one. Two. Okay, he's telling me time is up. But you've done well. You see, Allah, when He swear, first is there is a message. So you have qasam, we have jawab al qasam, which you mean the jawab is one of sin. But that particular thing, which you mentioned, but I was trying to bring you to put it in perspective for the understanding of everyone. That particular thing that Allah swear with is also trying to tell you how important that thing is. Son, Allah wouldn't swear with anything that is not important. So trying to say this thing that I said, walayli. That's why if you have gone through a lot of tafsir, you'll see they will tell you how important night is to us, how important the day is to us. So Allah would always swear with something that He wants you to understand its importance. Likewise, if a mother said, I swear by the Jan of my son, it's trying to say, my son is so dear to me, I can die because of my son. Is time up? Okay, thank you. You've done well. May Allah bless you. Inshallah, next year you will participate more, inshallah. Salawat for him. Ahsant.
Before I call the next participant, just know that there's some snacks on the back of the room on the table, so feel free to take those and refresh yourselves. So can we please call upon Sister Batul Salman with the loudest salawats? Yeah, Sister Batul Salman. Sister Amal? Okay, that's fine. Okay, Sister Amal Abid, please.
Just give me a few minutes. Ready?
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Actually, I read Surah Al-Shams Mostly every day, 3 times. They say
How many times?
They say 3 times if you read it, either beginning of the day, middle, or night. It's really good for you. And I don't know, I just read it. And they say if you read it 3 times altogether, if you are not, it's fine. And I read it, I feel in peace. Just read it, that's it. When I come to this competition, I read it and I did little bit within one day my research. Actually, I was amazed. I feel like I read it first time. And here, a come to conclusion is just why a Shams come in Quran 32 times in different Surah Taha, Surah Yasin. So it's so important. And when I look also to the ayah, is 91, is like the witr, the odd numbers. The numbers of the ayahs is 15, also witr. And they say always witr something blessing. I say, oh, maybe this is the reason I read it 3 days, and it's really it's relief, stress reliefs. To me, it's lovely. And then when I see a Shams wa Duhaha, it's just something magnificent creation. One of the great creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the divine wisdom. Why is this all the mechanism of the sun? Why Allah swear with the sun? What's so important of the sun? If the sun moves little bit from its position to the north or south or left, or it will be either we frozen dead or we burn. So this is the great some piece of rock or fire or gas. Allah knows what's inside it. And then it's come to conclusion, or when you read it all, I don't come to come to things is, I thought when before the sun come, the day is come, but actually it's opposite. It's come to my knowledge, actually, the Nahar make the sun is clear. Why? Because the ozone and the steam there give us certain rays. This is the beautiful color. Psychologically make us happy. When no sun, you feel depressed. Just avoid the sun. This is actually one of the magnificent things about the sun. Also, the sun is me. It's my mom. It is all the mothers, is son. And in Surah Yusuf, the son is the lady. And there's when there's Ash-Shamsu wal-Qamar sajidin, the father, the mother, the parents. The mother is the son. Oh my God, am I the son? How am I so another thing I come to that the son discover, which is, as I said, I read every day 3 times, so I discovered this one. It's actually, it's not just the light. It's not just that this is the great things we see every day. The position. Have you noticed Allah didn't swear by the position? لا أقسم بمواقع النجوم وإنه لو قسم لو تعلمون عظيم إنه لقرآن. Allah subhanahu, the position of all these planets is accurate. Is accurate. It's so important. Yeah, maybe Allah swear by them, but not the position. And I say, why not the position? When I come to this Surah Al-Waqi'ah, لا أقسم بمواقع النجوم. Another things. The germ by itself, Allah can swear by. And when Allah swore that time, one of the Arabians said, what has happened? I'll make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swear. God doesn't need to swear for us. What is so important? Make God to swear. This is also bring my attention because the insan, the animals, is so important. Naqa, the naqa, destroy the whole society because there's no fear. There's no justice. Thus, I come to the naqa, by the way. They didn't kill the naqa. They didn't kill it. Aqaruha. And if you look in the Arabic dictionary, aqaruha, not they killed her. Aqaruha means aqar. In Surah Yusuf, aqar, wamra'ati aqar, means have no children. They took the baby from, it's not that took, because meanwhile, the whole story, when they want water, this is baby, the 10th, called Ashura, because we all know the camel, pregnancy time, 10. 10 means Ashura. So this is the baby, the camel, and pointed this camel from, and this from. They pointed, I want to from this place. I come exactly from the place. This is great bayina. It's great hujjah. So why you did harm this naqa? They didn't kill her. Say, in other eye, they say, la tamassuha, and the mess is hurt the heart. not actually Lems, which is killed. And actually, when both Sunni and Shia point of view, most of people, they say they killed her. Is not. It's aqaruha. And the meaning of aqaruha, as I said, they took the baby from her.